I looked forward in time. I saw 14,605 futures. How many of those did Bitcoin die? None.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Thursday, Thirsty Thursday, but before you decide to stay home and just, drink the bottle all day because we're having a red day, guys, it's not really that big of a deal. Yes, it's red today, but zoom out, look at the chart. We are still massively up, and you have to expect this kind of a sell-off after that kind of a rally. Not only did we have the major Bitcoin rally, followed by another, top altcoin rally, but we also had alt season leading up to the Bitcoin pump. So it has been a lot of bullish momentum. That's why I was getting excited. Clearly, you saw what happened, but now there is going to be a little bit of profit taking, a little bit of sell-off. If you are new to cryptocurrency, like as in you just bought your first crypto, this week or something, this may be a little scary for you. But once you're in it for like a couple weeks, you're going to get completely used to these fluctuations. It happens. It's just part of the market, right? Now, guys, before we move on, I hate doing this, but again, someone is scamming people or trying to scam people in my comments. And I've reported this to YouTube, said it was a spam comment multiple times. So now I've sent them an official letter telling them about this guy. So this is the Crypto Zombie scammer. You can see he's got 8 subscribers. He used to have like a car channel or something like that. Or no, not car channel, like reviewing G-Shock watches. I don't know. Total scammer. Please do not send any money to this person. I will never ask you for any money ever in the comments below, and any official giveaways will always be done in the actual video itself from me. Please, I know, it's annoying, but I have to just say this because I had a couple comments again about, people saying this. So anyway, getting off that, back to the markets, $173 billion market cap, incredible volume. Again, we're almost back up to 80 billion 24-hour volume. Bitcoin has gone up a little bit dominant because as the alts are getting hit a little bit harder, people are sort of hedging into that. Now, if we scroll down here, you can see they're not really moving into the stable coins just yet. So it doesn't look like anyone's really True USD's up 0.17. Maybe keep an eye on that. But it doesn't really appear that anyone's looking to, be afraid of a massive dump, but just be prepared for that. There have been some gainers today. For example, Repo, Ravane, Insight, Dogecoin, Elf, Cubitica, Mixin, and IOST. But let's look at the Bitcoin chart. Now, if you guys had an opportunity to watch the video that I did last night with Krown, definitely check it out because this guy is a professional trader. He was a market maker, literally. He knows what he's talking about. So I wanted to turn to him because right now we don't have much to go off on this chart. The only thing we're looking at is resistances and supports. There's really nothing else happening. So we need a few days of price action to get some kind of a trend happening so we can look at it. But right now, you will notice that our previous resistance of around 4,150 now, because that was the area we couldn't break out of, has now sort of become that support. So I don't personally see us going below that anytime soon. And we have now put in a new resistance around 5,349, as you can see by this wick right here. So what can you expect? Well, there might be some sort of sideways movement, right? We might bounce around in these channels. We could potentially dump down to here. It's kind of like something like sort of like what we did here, but I don't really see that happening. It's possible, but I don't think it is because as we were discussing yesterday, with those 3 transactions, right? It was for like 7,000 Bitcoin or something like that. I think it was 20,000 total. But anyway, the theory is that it was potentially someone that had accumulated OTC now trying to push the price up through slippage, right? So they may be actually saying, hey, that's enough. Like these guys that have been accumulating OTC, maybe they don't want those prices. They're happy, they bought, now they want to move the price up. The other thing I want to point out too is we did have this sort of, we were following this trend line here kind of, I don't know if this still kind of matters, but it's just something to note. I don't know why this switched my thing. There you go. So yeah, I'm not going to put this in here anything major, just kind of, just very, very loose in here. I'm not even going to make this an official line, but you can see that there was sort of a trend here, right? So the question is, if we were to fall, and we get over here, is this going to provide a sort of support again? That's another thing you can look at as well, guys, okay? So yeah, but zooming out, having a look at the major picture, for anybody that thinks like, oh, that's it, I missed the boat, it's too late. Guys, we look at how far we are off of from the all-time high, okay? So far, literally, this is still very close to the bottom. So yeah, even if we do have a pullback, hey, I'm not in any rush for this thing to get back to this point personally. I have time, guys. And this is the accumulation phase. And as you can see back here, these accumulation phases can go on for quite some time before the blast off. And the other thing I want to point out too is, for example, the move that we saw yesterday, how fast did that happen? Very quickly, right? So looking at the chart right here, you can see that the majority, now I have this set to weekly, that the majority of this Bitcoin was done within a month and a week with this major price move, okay? So that's something that you need to consider. If you look right here, I mean, look, this is 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So 5 weeks, and we went from $5,815 all the way up to $19,747. Just 5 weeks, okay? Just barely over a month. So you have to consider that there is going to be a lot of that sideways movement, but at the same time, accumulating is really the key, right? One more thing before we move on, because it was a question in my Telegram group from yesterday. Somebody was asking, what do you do if your altcoins are falling? If you're already invested, there's not much you can do. However, personally, I hedge, about a third of my portfolio always in Bitcoin at all times. Okay, so that's just what I personally do. So, when Bitcoin does tend to have that rally, it'll pull the other coins up with it, not Bitcoin comparative, but dollar comparative. But then if Bitcoin tends to take a little hit or the altcoins start to take a hit, usually Bitcoin is a better place to hedge. So I just wanted to kind of point that out. The other thing I wanted to bring up too is the idea, I had put a video out, is Litecoin leading the rally? It appears that it is. As you can see, this chart was March 24th, okay? And this was a snapshot that was taken. And you could see if you go back and have a look at what Litecoin has done, and now we have go back and have a look at what Bitcoin has done, you can see that they're very similar movements, except for the fact that obviously Litecoin has put in higher percentages, lower market cap, a lot easier to move the coin, right? So the other thing too, getting on, we got to move on here. We got to move on. But Business Daily from BBC, they had an entire episode devoted to Bitcoin's bounce back. Now, some people are saying, oh, well, they just did an interview with a Redditor. Okay, but my point is, now you're noticing people paying attention, right? And I said that. They were like, what's it going to take to get people back into crypto, back into Bitcoin? Price. That's it. Price goes up, everyone starts talking about it, right? Now, not to say that that's the main reason why people should be in cryptocurrency, but sadly, that's one of the reasons why they get drawn to it. Oh, price goes up. Cool. Moon, Lambo. I want to win, right? I want to make those sick gains. So, as far as what happened with the price, I wanted to turn it over to Bloomberg. And the reason I want to do this is because they were very negative about Bitcoin the other day in their article, saying that you should basically ignore it. But I do want to go into just play this clip real quick. And this is from, his name is Joe Weisenthal. And I just wanted you to hear what he had to sort of say about the situation. Obviously, take everything you hear from Bloomberg with a grain of salt. But anyway, check out this clip.
But other things that have concerned investors, hacks on exchanges, market manipulation, has any of that stuff changed?
No, it doesn't feel like it to me. I mean, the fundamental issues that people have raised, particularly around security, things like that, it's not like there's any more regulatory clarity or anything like that. So I think all those concerns remain. That being said, bull markets often start in anything before all of the questions are answered. And if you wait until everything is resolved, and this is speaking for any asset class, if you wait until everything is resolved and you got, securities taken care of and institutional monies come in, and then by then it might be too late. So it's certainly plausible that you could have a bull market start with so much uncertainty. And I do think it's interesting that even though nobody can explain why there was such a sudden price surge in the middle of the night, the price is held. It's not like it immediately went back down and people and their selling was resumed. And I think that's an interesting phenomenon to take note of.
So as you can see, he basically says that it didn't instantly dump, so that's a good point. And even though these guys have been somewhat skeptical about it, they also point out the fact, trying to figure out what's going on, it might be too late. You might spend so much time trying to figure out why the price is going up that you may actually miss out on the opportunity to get involved, right? Not financial advice. Don't throw your life savings into crypto. Oh, look who's live, Krown. I told you, this is why I always miss his damn show, because he's always live when I'm doing my videos. So anyway, moving on. Let's talk about some fundamentals here. So we have the number of active Bitcoin wallets has actually increased in the last 2 weeks leading up to the recent cryptocurrency surge. So that's something to keep in mind. It's not like it's just a fluke, right? According to Flipside Crypto, they say 40 to 50% of all Bitcoin had been held in digital wallets that were inactive for 1 to 6 months, while the average has reportedly been 10% since March 15th. Eric Stone, co-founder and head of data science at Flipside, said there are more people warming up to the idea of buying Bitcoin. The recent move purportedly reflects the case last fall when Bitcoin spiked 40%, although this time many smaller investors are waking up, as they put it, right? So basically, Dave Balter, co-founder of Flipside, said, "We see this move much more valid than a few whale moves in October. This probably signifies a change in perception or confidence in the asset class." So earlier today, Bloomberg reported that the recent crypto market jump could be linked to algorithmic trading, which is a method that uses automated software to detect trends and determine when trades should be made. But that, once again, that's just more speculation, as we just saw what Bloomberg had to say before. But I want to talk about the power of this thing, Bitcoin, right? So, I mean, if Bitcoin had a face, well, arguably, it would either be probably Anthony Pompliano or Andreas Antonopoulos. But so he was at a conference in Seoul, and he said that what we're trying to do is to simulate the existing system, but with fewer intermediaries and centralization, so that we can rapidly exceed and start doing applications that are absolutely impossible with the current centralized financial system. He said, and then, only then, Koreans will need cryptocurrency. Now, he's saying this because he's clearly in South Korea. I'm sure he's speaking globally, but at present, only a tiny fraction of consumers use Bitcoin. This is logical, he says, given the overall difficulty of crypto and the technical knowledge required to store and transact with it successfully, right? So, cryptocurrencies and open blockchains are only being adopted in the place where the pain of the current financial system is so extreme that people are forced to use something that is difficult to understand or store or whatever, right? So, what we're seeing is we're over here in the West, we're speculating, right? But over in places like, for example, Venezuela or something like that, you're seeing absolute need for it, right? He says, nonetheless, with advancements ongoing, Bitcoin is at least set to overtake legacy payment systems such as Visa and MasterCard. We are poised to achieve 10,000 times their capacity. Now, I do want to get into that in just a second, but first I want to go to my friend Bitcoin. He has a message for us.
Hey everyone, Bitcoin here. I saw on the internet that people keep doing this thing called a trash tag, where they pick up trash, and I thought that I would do it too. So, I'm here in Venezuela. I noticed all these papers on the ground that say bolivars. So I'm picking those up. So this is that. So, thanks.
So as you guys know, that was just a short, fun video from Bitcoins and Friends. If you haven't had a chance to check out the show, it's actually pretty funny. It's definitely not for kids, though. I will say that. But in all sincerity, guys, look at this. Look at this situation. Look at these streets. I mean, can you imagine just walking down a street just filled with paper like this? I mean, there's literally a picture that's circulating. I don't have it right now. And it's like a kid climbing on piles of paper to get into the back of his dad's truck to hand him something, literally using paper as a ladder. So when you go over and you look at some of these statistics, for example, just looking at what Venezuela has done, look at this massive amount of Bitcoin over-the-counter purchases. Look at this. Nothing. Boom. That says to me, absolute desperation, right? Now, getting back to the topic too, I know we want to talk about Visa, MasterCard, Bitcoin's a crappy form of payment, right? Well, per data collected from global statistics portals, the Bitcoin network posted $1.3 trillion worth of transactional volume in 2018. Within the same time frame, PayPal recorded 578.65 billion worth of payment transactions. It was the second time in a row that Bitcoin outran PayPal. And you can see right here, if we zoom into the charts, okay, for example, these represent all of the blue candles, or whatever you want to call them, represent Bitcoin. And you can see right here, it's past Discover and it's past PayPal. So we're on our way to Visa and MasterCard, right? But I know what you're saying. Volume is fake, right? Guys, some of the volume might be fake, but do you really think this much is fake? This is the total market cap, by the way. You really think this much is fake? I don't think so, guys. There's no way. That's insane amount of volume. Sure, I do think that there's some wash trading, but look at this. This volume, is the highest we've ever had. I mean, according to this chart, apparently we actually had the highest volume right here at the January sell-off, but a lot of other charts are saying that it's the highest that we've seen of all time. So no, I do not think that that is all wash trading. So having a look right here, Visa, 24,000 transactions per second, XRP, 1,500, PayPal, 193, Bitcoin, 7. This is a problem, right? Well, we do have things like the Lightning Network, and I'm gonna get into that in just a second. And yes, listen, I get it. We have Nano. It's super fast. I don't have a problem. I like Nano. I think Nano's cool, but it's adoption. That's the thing. You can have the greatest product in the world, but are people using it? Are people adopting it? That's the biggest thing. And, I don't really care if it's Dash or Litecoin or Ethereum or Nano or XRP. I don't care. Adoption's going to happen either way. But, we're going to have to get that out to the masses. And you do see Ripple, constantly working, constantly in talks with people, SBI Bank and all these other things. So that's really all it is just that adoption layer. Just wanted to point that out. But there was this article that came out. And if you notice here, Bitcoin's early adopters know that if this technology took off sometime in the future, clearly 7 transactions a second is not going to cut it, guys, right? Now, obviously, Visa has their, 24K limit. Now, they're saying that this was just some magical transactions per second that somebody just said, and one day it stuck. Now, they're not saying that that's not true. They're saying that, Visa probably can handle up to even 56K potentially. However, on average, Visa only really does around 1,700 transactions, right? Which is obviously up a little bit. So if you see Ripple doing 1,500, we're pretty much there, right? So they kind of go on to say that it's all theoretical though, much like, claiming that a new blockchain can have millions of transactions per second, but obviously it works when you're in a test environment, you're just sending transactions back and forth. But seeing it work out in the real world, have we ever actually put, do you guys know? Do you guys have statistics on this? Have we ever actually put 24,000 transactions per second worth of stress on Visa? Has that ever been done, like even during the holiday season and stuff like that? I'd be interested to know that, right? So that's one thing I wanted to point out. But talking about Bitcoin's Lightning Network, I get it. People are like, it's so early. Why do guys, listen, look at the massive growth that's happened to the Lightning Network just since back in January of 2018, okay? Back then we had 54 nodes with channels, okay? Now we have, what is this? 4,136 nodes, okay? We've gone from a network capacity of literally, double digits worth of Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin, 20 Bitcoin, and now we can hold over 1,072 Bitcoin. So that's $5.3 million by today's standards, okay? And above me, the channels, you can see right here. Obviously we started with 105, January 19th, and now we have 35,591 unique channels with 3,718 duplicates. So it is growing. And yes, I understand that this is not the vision, I suppose, of being, peer-to-peer digital electronic cash, but at the same time, it is very similar to how the real world works, and you're not going to get people to just start acting a certain way, or letting go of what they're used to just simply because we want a utopian decentralized world, right? So for example, if you have a business now and somebody was to use their credit card, that gets put into a system, into your point of sale device. And what you have to do at the end is you have to batch it out, which means it's essentially a glorified bar tab, right? So this would be no different than the Lightning Network. And then you would send all those transactions in one batch, okay? That would make Bitcoin usable anywhere. Just the same way that we use these cards now. You can use the Lightning Network to go buy coffee, to go, buy some clothes or go grocery shopping, right? So I just wanted to point that out, guys. Now, let's move on. I know I've been talking about Bitcoin a lot. I want to talk about some quick coin news, and then I want to talk about what happened with the SEC. And I'm putting that at the end, though, because I know some people, they don't really, it's kind of boring to them. So that's at the end of the video. But first, we have Huobi opens trading on Dogecoin. Now, this is pretty big news for Doge. Doge is a pretty incredible cryptocurrency. It has very high transaction volumes. But yeah, so there you go. That has a lot to do with, Elon Musk being the ex-CEO of Doge. It got listed, so you're seeing some pretty positive sentiment around that. Now, unfortunately, we have some coins getting delisted off of Kucoin, and that is Global Awards Token, Elixir, Loki coin, yeah, Trinity, and Unicoin Gold. Wasn't Unicoin Gold the one that Mark Cuban was involved in? That's unfortunate. But yeah, so that's happening there. We also have some updates from Cardano. If you're interested, they say that they provide new details on how users can earn Cardano or ADA through staking pools. If you guys are interested, this is a tweet they put out. So yeah, I guess go here. There you go. And there's all the information you need if you're interested in learning how to stake your Cardano. Now, for the boring part of the video, but you guys know I have to cover it. So, was this a crypto win? The SEC admits not all ICO tokens are securities. So, under strict conditions, a U.S. business travel company will be allowed to sell tokens. The SEC published a letter to Turnkey Jet today, which was in response to a previous letter from Turnkey's lawyer. So this is an about face for the SEC, whose director, Jay Clayton, has in the past said that every token he has ever seen is a security, but recently they've softened their stance. Now, this is the official report that came out. This is from sec.gov. This is not fake. This is legit, okay? And here is a little bit of their framework. Now, I'm not going to go into it because it's broken down here for you. So essentially, the framework itself is outlining a number of factors that token issuers must consider before evaluating whether or not their offers qualify as securities, right? These include some of the things you would probably expect, right? So they have expectation of profit, whether a single or at least central group of entities are responsible for specific tasks within the network, and whether a group is creating or supporting a market for a digital asset. So the criteria for this reevaluation includes the distributed ledger network and digital assets are fully developed and operational. The token is focused on a specific use case rather than speculation. Prospects for appreciation and the token's value are limited. And if billed as a currency, the token actually operates as a store of value. Okay, so they're basically saying that, you see right here, framework falls short of clear and actionable guidance. So basically they're saying that there remains a number of unanswered questions, including how the broad definition of active participants might impact projects. So while legal experts, and industry participants see this as a positive first step, the consensus appears to be that there are still many questions to be discussed. So the overall consensus is, well, it's a start, right? So the main precedent-setting question that remains unanswered is, when do tokens no longer qualify as securities? And when would the SEC be able to make that determination, right? So the guidance appears to be primarily summarizing additional considerations for the industry in terms of evaluating their token offerings. So while the conclusion to the SEC's guidance is not necessarily new, the fact that the regulator is saying it more clearly than ever is still significant, right? The fact that they're even paying attention, that they're taking the time instead of, right? I mean, if it was not legit, they'd just outright ban the whole thing, right? The framework also leaves unanswered questions regarding federal security laws and their applications to crypto tokens in particular. It's unclear whether token sales conducted outside of the US fall under the SEC's jurisdiction. It's an issue that's been raised before. So speaking in New York in March, you had Crypto Mom, SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce. So she was basically explaining that startups in other nations can easily come into contact with US securities laws without aiming to do so. So this raises the question of how and when the SEC should enforce against startups outside the US. Can they, right? So she said, if you're reaching out to U.S. investors, you can come in contact with our security laws. When I see those kinds of enforcement cases, I often say to my colleagues, all right, do we really expect someone who's based somewhere in India, for example, to be thinking about U.S. security laws all the time? And she says, I think that is not reasonable, right? But outside of this, something that happened even non-related to this, you had a federal judge that ruled that a coin, which was called ATB coin, was an unregistered security, even if the token didn't entitle buyers to profits. The Howey test doesn't actually require a security to be a share in a profit-gaining enterprise. Keep that in mind. However, the court made an important precedent. Even if you're not promised profits in an ICO investment, it can still be considered a security if the Howey test is applied reasonably. The court decided that ATB coin is guilty of offering an unregistered security and not delivering on its promises. So just as things seem like they're starting to get bright, we get confused again and we don't know what's going on. So as you can see, scrolling down here, the question is not whether your offering returned great profit to investors or not, but whether or not it is an unregistered security that should not have been offered in the first place. They go on to say The overwhelming majority of ICOs in 2017 were both unregistered with the SEC and had US investors. So, which is to say that if the case that ATB coin succeeds to the end without an out-of-court settlement, a serious precedent will pose an existential risk to dozens of projects which have yet to return real value to ICO investors. So there you go, guys. That's what's going on. I know, boring. I hate to end the episode on this stuff, but this is just the kind of stuff you have to talk about. But hey, before we go, I do have something to give away, and that is a t-shirt. So let's do it. So the video that was for the t-shirt yesterday was the Bitcoin whale pumping more prices. So we'll go to that video right here, copy, and let's give away a t-shirt. It's t-shirt time, guys. 456 unique comments. All right, drum roll, please. Price is a lot higher now. Bitcoin is over 5,300. I haven't seen Bitcoin rise so quick since the parabolic run of 2017. Yeah, me neither. Actually, good point. Definitely got a lot of people excited. So Aaron Monroe, you are the winner. Congratulations. So all you have to do is go back here and either hit me up in my official Telegram group, totally free, by the way, if you guys want to join, we hang out and talk crypto all day, or just go to the about and yeah, you could do that. Also, guys, reminder, any comment from any video makes you eligible for the Ledger Nano S. So technically, you could win the t-shirt and the Ledger in 1 week. That would be crazy, though. That would almost be, like, suspicious, right? So, yeah, guys, honestly, speaking of Ledgers, thank you so much. If you guys, don't want to wait to try to win a Ledger, it does really help the channel by using my referral links to purchase your Ledger. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it definitely helps me out. Also, if you guys can't stand the ads, I get it. Also helps me out, but I am a registered verified creator on Brave browser. So if you guys want, you can just download Brave browser using my link. They do give you $5 worth of basic attention token to use on the platform, and that helps as well. But as you guys know, none of that is ever expected. So that being said, guys, I want to say thank you so much for everyone that's been coming back to the channel, everyone that's been liking, subscribing, commenting. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. And yeah, let's have a look real quick before we go. Okay, yeah, we're just chilling. We're just hanging out. So nothing to be too worried about, guys, right now. Bitcoin is just doing its thing. So that being said, thank you so much. You rule. Today is Thursday, one day closer to the weekend. That's right, tomorrow's Friday. I look forward to seeing you guys for the weekend. I hope you've been having a great week. If you're not having a good week, what projects were you invested in? I mean, I think everyone made some kind of gains this week. So hopefully you did, but if you didn't, plenty of time. We got, this is just the beginning, guys, okay? So that being said, you guys rock. My name's K. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.